Well, the season has gone by quicker than most. It seems that way. Probably because we've had such a mild winter. We really didn't have a winter, actually. But real proud of these three guys. They exemplify what you want out of student athletes. They're all going to graduate. They all have good grades. They've never been a problem, never had been suspended for anything. They don't, especially in the case of Jared and Kyle, you don't get a whole lot out of them verbally unless you ask. So they've been a lot of fun to coach, and they've really, we've been proud of what they've given in the classroom and what they've given on the basketball court. So their careers come to a close, and Jared's had to battle a lot of injuries. He leaves here a healthy person. We'll decide with him when the year's over. We'll look at a lot of situations for him. We'll sit down together and see what's the best road to travel in terms of grad school and his one more year of eligibility. Chris will probably look to play somewhere in overseas, and as well, I don't know what Kyle's plans are.
Does Swamp want to play another year?
Yes, he does. We've already talked about it.
When Kyle came here as a walk-on, could you ever in your wildest dreams have envisioned the kind of career he's had, or what were your thoughts on this?
No, because originally Kyle wanted to walk on at Duke, and then at the end, Indiana considered giving him a scholarship, possibly, or wanted him to walk on there. And no, I never. It was real funny because our coaches along the way said you would do him if you really like him as much as you say you do to me. I don't want to mention which ones they were, but there were multiple ones. You'd do him a big favor if you would have him transfer where he could play. Because at the time he was getting killed by T-Will every single day. T-Will got a lot of enjoyment out of killing him every day. And so they just thought it would be best for him to go elsewhere. Only Walter McCarty said there's no way we'd stay put.
Can you take us through the process with Swapshire and, because he could come back here, I guess, and play too.
We don't have a scholarship available.
It's all a numbers game?
It is. And what happens is, not that you don't want to come back, you don't know their player's going to be injured, so you're looking at, you can't tell. It's the same thing with Mike Marion and Stephen Van Treese. You're already committed to what you're going to do. And the way I look at it with any basketball player in this regard, if a player's going to come in and play, I think it's in Jared. And I love Jared Swapshire. I love him. And I would love to see him go play 32 minutes somewhere rather than play 10, 12 minutes with us. So that's what it boils down to. Everybody should have that opportunity. But because of Shane Bohannon, he's not going to get that opportunity even if I had a scholarship. Because I love him so much, I would tell him to go elsewhere. If it was my son, I'd tell him to go elsewhere.
Did that work out? George Good was at the game the other day. Did he enjoy his experience this year playing?
I think he enjoyed it tremendously. I don't think what I've learned from that scenario is get him a situation where he can play like George Good, but get him a situation where he has a chance to win. Winning 3 games is difficult for you.
I guess Chris Smith was a surprise to you too, a little bit, right? I mean, you didn't know that.
No, I had no idea he was coming here, so I told that story many times. It was just something that Stevie Mass put together, and so he's had someone to arrive on your doorstep and not have to. We did give him a scholarship 1 year, but it's indicative of how things can. All 3 of them, especially Chris and Kyle. Kyle has been a major player. To answer your question, I never ever thought that Kyle, from that status, would ever get to this status. I never thought that.
Was Kyle? Can you
Never
clarify?
thought it was conceivable, by the way.
Was Kyle? Was he a walk-on or a guy you anticipated? What was the? Because you're different.
I asked him, would he be a walk-on? He originally wanted to go to Duke, but by the summertime, I said, look, Kyle, I'm probably going to have a scholarship for you. I said, now, I may need it the following year or somewhere down the road, but anytime I have it, it's yours.
But he committed to come here thinking
he's going to
be walking on.
Yeah.
Rick, when did you first see out of Kyle that this type of potential was something that he had? You said you didn't think it was conceivable at first.
No, I didn't think it was because the Kyle Keurig up today.
Right.
You know, I've seen a lot of players improve and get better throughout time, but I liked Kyle from the times I saw him. In the summertime, I liked him, and you know, it's like anything else. It's getting the opportunity. I think playing against T-Will that year and getting his butt kicked so much was really good for him, because he had to really improve every single day, or T-Will would humiliate him. And so that year was very special for him.
Was that Syracuse game, though, how much of an eye-opener was it to you to see the potential that he had in the league?
Well, as I remember back, he had no points at halftime, but they had 2, but none.
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 Yeah, so it's, and then as you're watching it, listening to the call by the announcer, you know, it was pretty much an eye-opener.
Because he had the kind of senior year that you wanted, and during that stretch where, you know, the season may have could have gone either way, did he step forward, you know, behind the scenes?
You know, Kyle is so quiet that, and I just talked to him today. I said, look, I want you to, from this point on, it has nothing to do with being seen tonight, I want you to do more things on the basketball court, at least attempt them. By that I mean I want you playing better defense. I want you trying to get down the floor and dunk the basketball. I want you grabbing offensive rebounds. I want you doing more things than scoring. And I said, I'm going beyond you. Probably Kyle and Billy Donovan are the 2 players in my lifetime that I got on the least of any basketball player. Those 2 guys.
And why is that? Once he did have more expectations of what he could do, like, you know, last year and this year, why is that?
I'm sorry.
That you didn't have to get on him as much.
He's just too nice a guy to get on. You feel, you know, there are very few players when you go home at night and say, you know, I got on that guy, I feel terrible about it. I mean, you know, I only yelled at Billy Donovan 1 time in 2 years, and it was because coerced by Stu Jackson in the NCAA tournament, and I felt awful walking out for 2 minutes. I've never got on Billy Donovan ever, because he worked so hard, and I really have never gotten on Kyle, but just until recently I've gotten on.
And when he was going against T-Will, did you see a lot of his competitive side come out? I mean,
not really. Saw him get his ass kicked, big time. And we used to go back in every morning meeting. We'd say, "Boy, can we put T-Will on someone else?" You know, T-Will's not the type of guy that, you know, helps you up when you're down.
You mentioned playing the faster tempo. Is there something that could be done? It seems like, especially in that last game, when Gorgie gets a rebound, he'll hold it.
We talked about that yesterday, but I'll tell you something, guys. And you know, it's like when we go back to playing Long Beach. Remember when we scored a lot of points, and I looked at the film, and I was really disturbed by looking at that film. But when I went home that night, I was so looking forward to that film, because I thought we played great, because they were a heck of a team, and they were on a good run at the time. We played very well the other night. I mean, you would never think that. I mean, I went home saying that I'm dreading watching this film. We watched, I made the team watch it together, because I wanted to make a lot of corrections. I made very few corrections. We played really well against Pittsburgh.
All around?
Yeah, all around. We played really well. Now, what CL just said is true. Guys are holding on to the ball too long, especially Gorky. But Gorky, I told him, I said, I was really disappointed in him after the game, because he didn't block enough shots. There were so many opportunities for him to do things he didn't do. And he said, Coach, I'm exhausted. My legs have given out. And he's played probably too many minutes in practice and in the games. He's sort of hit that wall. So I gave him off yesterday completely, and I'll probably give him off most of today's practice, because he's not the strongest guy in the world from the lower body, and so he needs a little bit of rest, where the other guys are pretty fresh. Gorky's never really had an injury all year. He's withstood everything, so he needs a couple of days off, and I think it'll do wonders for him. But I was surprised. You know, I'm sure all of you are surprised, but if you watch that film, we played really good basketball. You know, we moved well. We played excellent defense. We made some mistakes, but we tried to run on them. They were back. You know, there's only one break miscue that we had, was when Shane Behannon dropped the ball on a break. Peyton made a good pass, and he dropped the ball.